Hey there everyone. This is going to be a video on my home-built, self-made crazy cart. Made this thing 5 or 6 years ago now and been meaning to make a video on it ever since. Kind of worked out all the bugs over the years of riding it and pretty happy with how it works now. So yeah, we're going to go over this thing. When I started building this, I set a budget for myself of about $600 Canadian, and I did it for that. It had a self-built battery at the time. A different seat on it that I got on Facebook Marketplace. It had like a bucket seat for a car on it, so it was pretty tall, but it did work for that much. It has undergone some upgrades since then, such as a more powerful 60-volt battery I got, again, on Marketplace for a steal off of an electric scooter. So making a little bit more power now. The original battery is 48 volts. As well, I found a actual Crazy Cart XL seat on Amazon for like 70 bucks. So I threw one of those on it with a new seat bracket. And it's a little bit peppier now, a little bit more fun to drive and not as heavy with the lighter seat on it. I'm gonna go over the electrical system, drivetrain, braking, construction, all that. We'll start off by looking at the drivetrain. This thing is basically powered or driven by a Vivor or Amazon or eBay. I think I got this one on eBay years ago. One of these kind of gear drive electric bike motors on there. Again, this one was rated for 48 volts, but I'm running at around 60 and it's been fine. It's a brushless motor, so it's got, you know, your 3-phase wires and then all the hall sensor signal wires going to it. And it does turn a full 360 almost, got a stop on each side. So that works out good. I did have issues breaking my motor wires for the first few months running it, but I actually put a concentric twist on them. Something kind of familiar in the motorsports world for wiring harnesses, and it's been working good for years now. I haven't had any issues with any breakage or anything, and it seems to be happy turning that full 360. They are just run up from my electronics enclosure. Excuse the dirt, it's been outside a bit. And then they just run up here to my fork, and I've got kind of some extra length at the top there. At this ratio right now, it's a pretty big sprocket on here. It goes just under 30 k's an hour at top speed, which on this thing is a little fast considering how tippy it is being a three-wheeler. But yeah, it does rip pretty damn good. And I'm actually building a second one now, so I can do some tandems with my buddies. And this is what the fork looks like outside of it. Only difference on this new one I'm building is I put some gussets in here, but the design is pretty much the same. This is just all made out of 1-inch square tube, pretty reinforced. So this thing shouldn't break, should last a long time. And these run, I think it was a Kenda tire on here. See if I can get the, yeah, Kenda. I got these from a supplier in Alberta. They're pretty good. They're nice and thick. I think they're meant for like a lawn tractor, but they last for a long time. So you can do lots of burnouts on these. I'm getting like a year or two lifespan out of each one. And they do run an inner tube inside. These are just like split rims you can get from China that normally come on like scooters and stuff. So just running one of those with some spacers to get my disc brake to the right position. Same with my sprocket there. And running some heavy duty casters. These have been really good. I've had these on for like 3 or 4 years now. They have a bit of play now, but they're still working good. And longboard wheels are the way to go if you do want to build one of these. You just have to machine the sides down a lathe, or I've used even just a normal wood saw that worked before I had my lathe, and that works good to get them down, and a couple spaces in there to get the spacing correct, and those work really well. As well, looking at the bottom, I've got an underglow on this, some red underglow, just so it's kind of cool riding at night. Looking at the electronics side of things, this is the 60-volt battery I was talking about. That works pretty good in there, it just barely fits. And I had to put a new BMS on it. That's kind of the reason I got it for so cheap, but this has been working great for years. And packed in here on the side, I've got quite a bit going on. Obviously, we got your phase wires for your motor and hall sensor wires there, power. And then this little guy here is a buck converter to go from 60 to 12 volts. And I did that to run, I've got another little chip on here to run a USB charger. That was just kind of for fun to see you could charge your phone on it or whatever. My charging port's no longer working. I just charged the battery outside of it. And yeah, this little buck converter is also powering my LEDs. So if I turn that on, it's my underglow there on the bottom. Used to have a voltage display here, but that quit, as well as my key switch on off quit. But yeah, maybe on the new version, new one I'm building over there, we'll get that going. Just a cheap Chinese throttle pedal there, so that works like so. And last part of the electronics, I guess, my reverse button. So it's just if you get stuck in a corner of somewhere, warehouse if you're riding in or whatever, you can get out of it. It also kind of works as a clutch dump, which is kind of fun. So if you're going along, you just mat the throttle full while you're going forwards, and then just press the button and release it. It kind of preloads the controller, like charges up the capacitors and then dumps all the power out. So you can break traction on the front wheel, which kind of helps to do like cool flicks into corners when you're drifting, that sort of thing. And just got a little aluminum cover to cover up the electronics, and the seat is adjustable, just some bolts on there, and they just slide into my seat mounts, just some 1/4-inch flat stock with a slot cut in it. Now going over the actual fabrication side of things, or construction, it's 1-inch tubing all around, 065 wall, bent it on an old Hausfeld bender with kind of an old shitty die, but it worked okay, and I got the bends in there fine. I think I notched it on like a notch master we had at school, which was really nice, so all the notches were no problem. I basically hand built everything except for this was plasma cut, the steering wheel center, and the skin just made in 2 pieces. That was also plasma cut to rough size. This kind of cowling, I guess you'd call it, that was all just hand built, hand bent sheet metal. I think it was probably 18 gauge or 22 gauge or something. That kind of helped to brace this rectangular tube that runs up for the headset and holds all that in place for the bearings. And this one was all MIG welded, just with like a Miller 120 volt sort of deal. And that worked fine. The new one I'm building is going to be all TIG'd, so welds are a little bit nicer on this one. Be a little bit nicer end result, a little bit cleaner, but this definitely worked fine. Stuck some logos on it, made on a vinyl cutter there, just called it a Drivetrain, and Type R badge off a buddy that he gave me. Just stuck that on there for fun. The actual stem here, this was just made on the milling machine on the lathe. It's just a 2-inch block of aluminum, have a slot cut in it, and then obviously the inside was bored to 1 1/8 just to fit like a standard steer tube size, which is also machined on the lathe for the fork. This one's got the actual tubes on it, but you can kind of see there. And yeah, a couple Allen head bolts on the side there, hold it down, and then just got 4 machine screws that were holes tapped into that block as well to hold the steering wheel center on, and that all seemed to work pretty well. eBay headset or Amazon, it's like 15 bucks at the time. I think I just got my other one there for 10 bucks. Moving on to the e-brake system. It's pretty much a copy of Razor's, maybe just a little bit thicker tubing. Yeah, just bent these up by hand in a vise and all drilled. And they've just got some UHMW bushings in there to make things a little bit smoother. Just some pillow block bearings from Princess Auto there. You can get them on Amazon as well for super cheap. Obviously it's running the heavy duty casters like I talked about, so those are 4 bolts. I think on Razors they have like the single stud, kind of threaded stud style casters. So these are a little bit beefier, they work pretty good. I think that's pretty much it to cover on these things. They're pretty simple. Got the brake too, which is nice, and some pedal covers on there. So that's kind of advantage, I guess, over the Razor one. Having the brake, it does help. It's running a garden edging body kit, just to make it look kind of low and scrape over bumps and stuff. As you can see, this one's in need of replacing now. It's getting a little beat up, but still does work all right and looks kind of cool. But yeah, I'm gonna throw in some riding clips in now. You guys can see this thing in action, session it up with some buddies here.